Maybe you didn't previously have the Central Oregon coast listed as a key location in the fight against fascism, in particular, the fight against the illegality and brutality of ICE, but go ahead and add Lincoln County to your list. I want to reference here a piece that came out in the Oregon Capital Chronicle on November 12th. Now, this may not have made national news, but it made news all over Oregon. Every chat that I'm in, every group that I'm in, advocating for democracy here, has been blowing up over the past several days over the fact that ICE was looking to secure a facility in Lincoln County around Newport, Oregon. And pro-democracy organizers were scrambling to try to stop it. Now, I used to live in Lincoln County. My third child was born at the Lincoln City Hospital. We lived in Siletz, Oregon, which is outside of Newport in the middle of nowhere. There's one stop sign. And Newport was our big town of about 10,000 people. For those of you who are not from Lincoln County, you may not be aware of the fact that it's a very economically depressed area. Yes, it relies on tourism for a couple of months in the summer, but then the main sources of employment are fishing, which is seasonal, logging, which is seasonal. There's a mill. Actually, I believe the lumber mill in Toledo, Oregon was set to close last year, but there is also a paper mill, a pulp mill. And then there is the Hatfield Marine Science Center, where so many of the federal employees, including most of the EPA employees, have been fired by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So that's a little bit of a ghost town. Lots of NOAA and EPA jobs just by Donald Trump. It's not like our fishermen need to have accurate weather forecasting. It's not like, when we're in the Cascadia subduction zone, we actually need people monitoring for tsunamis. No. Donald Trump says we don't need any of that. We also don't need FEMA. Anyway, okay, before I get on too much of a tangent. So Lincoln County, pretty economically depressed, lovely folks there. It's also just like stunningly beautiful. But ICE has been shopping around trying to find a location where they could open up a facility. And I think one of the reasons that Lincoln County was targeted is because it is economically susceptible, right? ICE and in general, the Trump regime, they're preying on people who need jobs, are willing to sell their souls to go work for ICE. Not only that, but it's kind of tucked out of the way. It's rural, it's a small community. And ICE, I think, thought that they could come in and nobody was going to fight it. And we first heard about this, I don't know, like 4 or 5 days ago. And activists in Lincoln County, y'all, they were on it. They were turning up to the city council meetings. I believe that the mayor was opposed. Like there was just a big campaign to get the word out that ICE was trying to infect Lincoln County with their presence. And the residents there were not fucking having it. And I got so many people in my comments. I had people sending me emails who are like, this is really scary. We're really worried that ICE is going to set up shop in Newport and we're not going to be able to stop it. But I also heard from activists in Lincoln County who were like, come hell or high water, we're going to stop this. And then the day before yesterday, late in the day on November 12th, the Oregon Capital Chronicle reported that the defense contractor from Texas, who was hoping to secure a facility, withdrew their inquiry. Right? They thought that they were going to position themselves at the Newport Municipal Airport. And that was just something the community was going to let them do. And you can understand, right? They want to have immigrants sent there so they can fly them out on Avilo Airlines or whoever these other contractors are, these for-profit businesses that are making billions in our tax dollars, taking government money to abduct and ship immigrants God knows where. First of all, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with y'all down in Texas, but why is it that so many of these businesses who think that they're going to get big and fat and rich off of enacting Donald Trump's horrible, cruel plans, how come so many of them originate in Texas? I say that as somebody who spent a huge chunk of my childhood in San Antonio. What the fuck is wrong with y'all, Texas? What is wrong with y'all? Anyway, okay, city manager Nina Vetter confirmed that the Texas-based Team Housing Solutions, they always have such like nebulous names, Core Civic, Geo Group. Of course, they're not going to call their corporation We Zip-Tied Children and stuff them into concentration camps. Anyway, okay, so Team Housing Solutions from Texas informed Newport officials of their decision Wednesday afternoon to put a bid in an offer in on this location at the Newport airport. And so that set the tone for a 2-hour special city council meeting that was filled with emotional testimony and applause. Local residents urged Newport leaders to amass all the tools they had to block any plans for an ICE facility in the area. Maybe somebody thought, oh, it's a small place, it's rural, they're probably quiet, we can overpower them, said City Councilor Steve Hickman. We've been underestimated. Team Housing Solutions withdrew their offer after the Tuesday disclosure of records showing that the company, which had previously furnished housing for the Texas National Guard, asked the city about leasing land at the airport last week for federal operations. Early November job listings posted by government contractor Acuity International, based in Virginia, and also Asset Protection and Security Services, based in Texas, for detention, clinical, and transport officers in Newport have fueled concerns that those operations would include immigration detention. Thank you to everybody in Lincoln County who is on top of this. This is what is required for all of us in this moment, no matter where you live in this country. Vigilance. Vigilance. They want to sneak this shit in everywhere. And also, you notice that these are two for-profit private businesses, Acuity International and Asset Protection and Security Services. They are contractors hiring ICE. These are hired thugs. These are mercenaries. There are many reports that they are getting a per-head bounty. But the residents of Lincoln County, they were all over this, and they were like, this is not happening here. We will not tolerate this. So often when the regime tries to do something terrible, what they are doing is not actually putting as much effort into it as you might think. They don't actually have a lot of courage and a lot of pushback. What they are counting on is you not noticing, or they're counting on you not pushing back. They want to claim power they don't have. They want to claim authority they don't have. They want to move the needle on what is normal. And they're testing the waters to see who resists. That's why it's so important that we resist everywhere. Everywhere we possibly can. No matter how small the act of resistance, we must take it up. And that's what the folks in Newport did. They said, yep, we're out of the way. People might not notice what's happening here, but we notice, and we will not tolerate it. Getting back to the article here, Oregon does not have a long-term detention facility, reflecting the state's decades-old status as the first sanctuary state in the nation. We have very strong sanctuary laws here. A 2021 law bans the creation of private immigration detention centers. In Portland, for instance, the ICE processing center on Macadam Avenue has drawn strong protests, while city leaders have accused the location of violating land use rules, barring the detention of individuals for more than 12 hours or overnight. Yeah, the ICE facility in Portland is just supposed to be a way station. It's supposed to be a processing station. They're not allowed to detain folks in Oregon, and yet the facility on Macadam Avenue has broken the law many times. They've broken the terms of their lease many times. Most of those have been since Donald Trump has come back into office. A Monday statement from Vetter and Newport Mayor Jan Kaplan set off panic statewide after they said they were made aware of information indicating that Homeland Security was already in the process of considering locations for a detention facility around the Oregon coast, including the Newport Municipal Airport. Since then, Oregon city, state, and federal leaders said they have been unable to get clarity from the agency. The federal government continues to refuse to share their plans with the public, said Governor Tina Kotek. While information is limited at this time, I oppose spending taxpayer dollars on an unwanted and unnecessary additional ICE detention facility in Newport or in any part of the state. The Trump regime, my word, should focus on solving real problems, not inciting fear and tearing communities apart. Also, the city government in Newport did not receive any direct communication from Homeland Security around this at all. And ICE and DHS did not respond to the Capitol Chronicle's request for comments. We know Homeland Security and ICE have been getting their sticky fingers in our National Guard. And one of the actions recently that really upset folks in Newport was that for reasons that have not been explained, the rescue helicopter at the Coast Guard station in Newport was removed by Homeland Security with no explanation. Again, remember I said at the beginning of this video that Newport is a fishing town. Removing a rescue helicopter risks the safety of the fishermen and boat workers in the area. It also risks the lives of immigrants in the fishing industry to have ICE in Newport. It wasn't just local government that pushed back and local activists, although they were incredibly necessary in this moment. Their work has protected Lincoln County from this facility going forward at this point. Also, both of our senators, Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley, and the two congresswomen in the area, Suzanne Bonamici and Val Hoyle, also spoke out and wrote to Homeland Security pushing back against this move. So this is a big win for Oregonians, for local organizing, for Lincoln County, and for our immigrant neighbors.